Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track from an act named BAND-MAID titled Mana's Black Hole, the official live video for J-LOD LIVE2. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves the track on YouTube. We're going to be watching through this video in full today, as well as giving an analysis and conclusion at the end. A couple of things before we get into it. I've recently reviewed a few tracks in BAND-MAID, looked through the live performances of tracks like Play as well as Hate, and this is one of the songs that people recommended to me in the community post I put up a couple of days ago. The links for those two previous reviews are in the description below. I want to also mention that in a week's time from when this video goes live, just under a week, I'm going to be doing a 2-hour live stream where basically there's a whole lot of other songs that people have recommended me check out from BAND-MAID. So I figure it'd be good for us to actually just maybe have a look through them together. It's like a fan request thing, like it's not like you don't have to pay for anything like that. We're just going to be taking free requests and we're going to check out the tracks from BAND-MAID for 2 hours and just hopefully just have a good time. And so that'll be next week. It'll be scheduled on the YouTube channel as of the time that this video goes live. So feel free to keep an eye on that if you want. I'll put a link to that in the description below as well. But anyways, we're going to listen through Mana's Black Hole from start to finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Online OQG, The Day of Maid. Oh, sick. So starting off with Mana's. Sounds a little bit less aggressive than some of the previous tracks we checked out, which is kind of an interesting twist. Very cool and response there from the vocalists. No, well done.
Yeah.
And just how they come down with that with the dynamic range is amazing. I assume that's the first song, Manners. So are we splitting it in two, I suppose? The first track, Manners, was tremendous. I really appreciated. I kind of feel like we should watch the whole thing. We should just watch the whole thing. We'll talk about these tracks more at the end. I get the feeling, though, if I'm not mistaken, the vocal performance, it's basically singing about sort of like power of the rock music that they do and sort of facing the challenges that you have hit on and not allowing yourself to ever sort of like get stared down or kind of giving up. Basically, it's kind of embodying the spirit, I think, of rock and roll, and that's sort of what they're discussing here and sort of trying to apply it to their own sort of life situation. But Black Hole next? Immediately different sort of aesthetic, isn't it? The drummer is absolutely ridiculous as well. That uncertainty with that chromatic scale and the guitar solo is amazing as well. The Day of Maid. Yeah, I'm thoroughly blown away by that. Not because I feel I need to be, but simply because they're a tremendous band. I've really enjoyed my time reviewing these musicians, which again is why I'm looking forward to that live stream that we're going to have next weekend. So again, if you want to come along to that and suggest some other BAND-MAID tracks for us to check out, that'd be good. But yeah, ultimately we're going to talk about these tracks more in the conclusion section. So yeah, let's do it. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this performance of from an act named BAND-MAID titled Manners as well as Black Hole. There are two very distinctly different pieces of music on display here. The first, Manners, it's more about their rock and roll. It's more about kind of not giving up and they're coming back. You know, our rock and roll never die. They're like kind of owning their style, kind of their destiny. sort of letting you know that they're not going anywhere and they're going to continue to rock on and keep pushing forward and pushing the boundaries. I think that's a fantastic message. I'm sure people can relate that to a lot of different things in life, you know, sort of owning your own sense of identity. I think that's incredibly important. So I think that's a really powerful story. But also, Black Hole, I think it's just meant to sort of represent the power of a black hole, that kind of spinning existence, almost finding a sense of meaning within it, getting drawn into it, our own sort of like perspective, maybe an admiration for the power of an actual one. Maybe the black hole is someone else, or like someone else's sort of situation, and they never escape from that black hole that are then getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It could also be like sort of like a kind of a description of like maybe some like mental health issues they're having, where like if their mindset is like a black hole or something like that, and just gets bigger and bigger. I'm not sure, but either way, two very different tracks. The first one, Manners, is this kind of almost sort of rock and roll, kind of hard rockish, kind of more sort of traditional, slower track there, with some interesting bluesy pentatonic ideas there. Lots of interesting sort of triplet, sort of like 16th notes kind of drum fills there. There's a lot more kind of room, I think, in time for us to really kind of... It's less frantic sounding than Black Hole. Black Hole is absolutely furious the entire time. It's just balls to the wall. You know, it's so quick. The drummer did an incredible job within that. The guitar solos, I think, alone gave a lot of personality, a huge difference between the two. I enjoyed both songs quite a lot, but to sort of give an overall kind of perspective on the performances on display within this live performance, the singer absolutely smashed it. I love the cleans, I like the vocal fry. As per the previous couple of reviews I've done of BAND-MAID's material, I really enjoyed the head and chest voice there. That great singer, fantastic charisma on stage, fantastic showwomanship. The lady guitarist who does the backing vocals as well, they've done a tremendous job there, sort of like backing them up and doing a bit of call and response, you know, between the tracks there, and providing some interesting vocal harmonies as well there to kind of give those parts a bit of life there. Ultimately very well fleshed out, and they're also very appropriate emotively. The expressions make sense with it being a bit more, again, more frantic with Black Hole, whereas with Manners, things sort of like are a bit slower. There's a bit more kind of raunchy kind of attitude to it. They're really aware of the story they're trying to tell with both, and they're aware of how to tell you them in the way that would make sense. And they're also anthemic either way, though. I think that if I talk about each of these tracks, they all are between the 2 to 4 minute sweet spot there. And considering the amount that we had in them, the work across the different instruments featured with the two guitarists as well as the bass and the drums, you have two incredibly well fleshed out pieces of music. I think there's a great sense of confidence to the fact that structurally we don't just start with like a sort of a traditional, maybe like a chorus intro and then go into. We had like bass and guitar and like the first track, Manners, and then with Black Hole we had like vocals and guitar for Black Hole, and it was very kind of ominous. This is due to what is called a black hole, you know. It's a completely different vibe, it's a completely different atmosphere, and they're aware that the first 10 seconds of a track can dictate the rest of the 4 in a way that is very important for a listener. When you have someone who is listening to a piece of music, they kind of nowadays, with the amount of the competition for attention, you really need to give them enough to spend that 4 minutes listening to it, and they do. And every track I've listened to, structurally, we don't just have verse, chorus. We have different instrumental breaks, so dedicated solo sections on the guitar. The drummers and the bassist also have little solo bits where they're on their own accord, as they had done in other songs as well. But it's also that, like, it's just great to allow space for the percussionists not just to pocket and to be able to sort of play their piece and explore the drum kit and work a variety of different tempos and fills, whether it's normal, halftime or double. They've just got so much room to do snare fills or like work a lot of sort of different hi-hat, kick and snare grooves, and they've got that functionality as well as with the double kicks that we had in Black Hole, if not Manners, primarily because they can find the gaps where there's a need for these things and absolutely capitalize on those, and not in a way where it exaggerates the overall motif or upends what's going on with the main lead vocals, whether that or the guitar section or even the bassist, because the bassist is not just rolling with the root notes and pocketing. Don't get me wrong, the drummer does when they need to as well. It's also knowing when to kind of find the space to go up into those higher ranges there. It's knowing when you can sort of stretch out and flex your muscles a little bit and kind of play those notes in a way where it adds to the piece in that high range of the bass instrument, because there is a reason why a bass guitar is like 20 something frets, right? It's not just to play the bottom 3 the entire time. So I appreciate that the bassist has the confidence and the flexibility, just like the drummer within this piece, to be able to play their tune. They can also, every single musician on that stage is they've got an absolute mastery over what they're accomplished there. It's just an incredibly tight band, and I think for like an act like this to exist with the kind of music they're making, which is quite compositionally complicated, you need every single musician to be able to play their parts. You can't get away with it being half-assed, and they don't do that here. They are nailing it. They're smashing it every time. That is not even getting into the guitar parts where, yeah, okay, we have power chords a lot of the time, or we might have sort of chugged alternate parts there, which is a sort of a typical kind of step end of rock and metal and stuff like that. But we also have interesting sort of like lead bits, like some flat seconds or some kind of bendy bits or twisties or chromatics that and the chromatic solo bit I pointed out, primarily because it is unusual. It's very specific in its implementation there. It elicits a feeling of unease or chaos. And that black hole is something that I feel would be symptomatic of that. And so I think when they do things like use chromatic parts in their solo sections, it's very smart because that works with it. Part of why BAND-MAID is so effective as an act and as songwriters is because they understand how to put those things together in a track, make them work, make them catchy and functional, make it succinct as well within the form factor. Like, a lot of people might be tempted to have way longer tracks than this to sort of flesh out an idea, but they don't do that. They respect for the listener's time. Furthermore, given how tight they are live, I can only assume that their studio stuff is to the same extent. And I imagine this would have been, that'd be a fantastic band to see live. And I can't honestly say that I would feel that way about every band that I see live. I've grown up listening to musicians thinking, wow, they're incredible. And I'm not going to mention the names here because I'm trying to not sort of like, that's not nice to shit talk musicians, right? But you go live and you hear them and just the curtain drops and you just realize that a lot of it's been fixed in post, but not with Band-Aid. They can just, a lot of it's been fixed in post, but not with BAND-MAID. BAND-MAID can just play, they smash it. There's a great chemistry between the members of the band as well. They interact with one another on stage. They can play all their kind of intricate solo selections with a wide variety of different techniques on the guitar parts. The bass guitarist can explore the fretboard and add in a lot of different ways. The drummer just has a phenomenal amount of tools in their toolkit to work with in regards to grooves and rhythm shifts. And ultimately, you just have two very different tracks with unique personalities, their chord choices, melodic lines, their progressions, distinct vocal performances, and distinct stories, and they all amalgamate in a way that is very, very satisfying, and it's a pleasure to listen to. They're one of the tightest bands I think I've heard and seen in quite a while, and I'm not saying this because I feel like I need to. It's legitimately a pleasure to check them out. I've enjoyed my time with it. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering is the icing on the cake. It's absolutely superb. The way the vocals are captured and recorded, they can clearly sing just the life to it. The vigor, the charisma, the energy, the passion, the intent is evident with everyone on stage, and everyone has their moment, and they don't stuff it up, and they just smash it. Nicely niched in their frequency spectrum. Nowhere isn't in frequencies. Everything's just leveled, and things are nice and neat and commercial grade. Nice and wide in the stereo field. The music's huge sounding, and it just surrounds you in the headphones. Even in a live environment where it's arguably more difficult to make that occur, there is dynamic range. How things came right down after Manners, and they were kind of whispering with singing with like a filter kind of thing going on there. It just came down very dramatic, very exciting because of that. And then it was nice and loud without pumping, so the bus compression and limiting was handled. And this is how you need to be doing music in the 21st century in order to have a chance in a career. And I think that if you are a musician wondering what you need to do, if you want to make this kind of music, you need to be checking out what BAND-MAID are doing. It's just simple as that. No hyperbole. They've got the ticket. But thank you for watching my review of this track from an act and BAND-MAID, or rather these two tracks titled Manners and Black Hole, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go check them out via their various social medias and YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as either hell more than ever thought of crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next SP reviews. Or the next reviews, I suppose. Spiderhands out.